Hey guys, what up? What up? Welcome back to another episode of Criminally Focused. My name is Desiree. That's Zeus. And whether you're new to my channel or you're a returning OG, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I appreciate your support and I'm happy that you found me. So lately, we've been covering a lot of cases on this channel that have been up to date and more recent. But, it's also important to me that we talk about people that are missing and cases that are unsolved. Sometimes I think hearing about cases that haven't been solved and are considered to be cold cases are harder to listen to, you know, for many reasons. But the victims never got justice and the killer lives a life free of consequences. But these cases, they're still important to talk about. The victims still deserve justice, right? And who knows? Maybe by sharing these stories, by listening to them, somebody will hear something and say something, and a case will get solved. So that's what I'm asking you to do today. Open your ears and your mind and take yourself back to the mid 2000s, 2006 to be exact. So we're going back when Blockbuster was still around and cell phones were more like flip phones. I know that the music playing then on at least my stereo were icons like Alicia Keys and Usher. Also popular during this time was the social media platform Myspace. And if you're too young to understand what Myspace is, oh my God. Don't even worry about it because you don't really need to understand much about the platform to understand today's story. But basically, we could kind of generate codes and pick different songs and backgrounds to kind of customize our page to fit our individuality. Like I said, for today's story, all you really need to know is that it was a social media platform where you could communicate with those outside of your immediate circle online. However, knowledge about how to keep yourself safe and your children safe wasn't as readily available as it is now. Today, I want to tell you the story of 14-year-old Judy Cajuste, who was senselessly murdered in Newark, New Jersey in 2006. Judy disappeared after track practice, and her body would be found strangled, naked, and in a trash can. Almost as if the killer was just tossing away, something unimportant. But that's far from the truth. Judy was and still is important, which is why I want to tell you her story. So although Judy's body had been found, she actually wasn't identified immediately. So for 10 long, agonizing days, her mom waited for her to return. And sadly, we know that didn't happen. With no real leads, I guess investigators really only had to go on a rumor that Judy had been talking to an older man that she met on MySpace. But could Judy have really met someone on MySpace and just walked away from her life at 14 years old? According to those closest to her, that's just really not something that she would have done. So what happened? As I stated earlier, to this day, Judy's murder remains unsolved. Judy deserves justice. And so I think we should try to at least help get her that. So grab whatever you're drinking or smoking and let's get right into it. Judy Cajuste was born on August 12th, 1991 in Haiti. When she was 4 years old, her mom made a decision to move Judy and herself to America in search for a better life. And I just have so much respect for a decision like that. I know it couldn't have been easy. And from everything that I found online, her mom did it as a single mom. It sounds like her parents were separated and her dad actually stayed in Haiti when they moved to America. Her mom had big plans for her daughter. You know, it was a new country and a new beginning. When Judy was 12, her mom bought them matching mother-daughter rings. And, you know, the rings weren't totally alike, as I guess one had like 3 bars on it and the other one had 2. However, to them, they were a symbol of a bond between a mother and a daughter that was incredibly special to them. Growing up, one of the nicknames people gave to Judy was Princess. For high school, Judy attended Abraham Clark High School in Roselle, New Jersey, and she was on the track team. Her fellow classmates, they referred to her as being adventurous and basically up for anything. They described her as basically the type of person who would go out of her way to make somebody else feel wanted. And, you know, it wasn't just her friends and her fellow classmates that enjoyed being around her. Apparently, her teachers did too. Actually, according to one of her teachers, she was dedicated to learning and she never missed a day of school. However, I also read in different articles that she was a typical teenager and she could be a little rebellious, you know, and skip class sometimes. And I mean, I know that's how I was, so no judgment here either way. But despite her sometimes rebellious side, Judy genuinely was a good person who was very loved and is very missed by all those who knew her. So this brings us to the day that Judy disappeared, January 11th, 2006. After school, Judy attended track practice that day, and when it was finished, she packed up her things and got ready to go home. Apparently that night, I guess most of the females on her team were gone by 5. However, at 5:15, Judy's coach said that he saw her standing in the hallway. He said she appeared anxious and had changed out of her running shorts at this point. He went on to explain that although she looked anxious, she didn't look nervous or afraid, which kind of confused me at first because when I think of anxious, those are the feelings that really come to mind. Before leaving, I guess he asked her if, you know, she had a ride coming or if, you know, if her mom was coming to get her, and Judy said yes. So when track practice for the guys finished, which was around 5:30, she allegedly asked a couple of the guys if they would mind walking her home. 2 guys agreed to walk home with her. However, apparently, as they got on Chestnut Avenue, which was just a couple blocks from her home, they said they parted ways. According to the police chief at the time, Judy said her goodbyes and headed back in the direction of her school. I'm not sure where Judy lived, so it's really hard to tell. But if Judy did walk back towards her school, maybe she got a text from somebody, possibly telling her that they were there waiting to meet her. I just don't understand why, if she was scared and afraid to walk home and waited for the guys, walked home with them, however, walked all the way back the way they came by herself. I guess it just doesn't make sense to me. This is something that investigators couldn't answer then, and they still can't today. What made Judy turn around, and where was she going? So if we look at this map and we put our little Google lady down, she's going to go kind of for a fast-paced walk. We're going to start right here because you can see this is the exit for the gymnasium. So we're going to assume that the 2 boys and Judy exit here. And from there, they take a left and continue to go down until they reach 9th Avenue. And as you can see, this is a pretty populated area. You know, we're going to pass the fire station on our left, and then they walk until 9th Street. And, you know, unfortunately, in 2006, there weren't very many security cameras. You know, technology just wasn't the same. But I mean, come on. You would think there would be some cameras, at least by the fire station. But like I said, maybe this is how they know that these two boys were not suspects, because according to the police chief at the time, he was confident and said that Judy had walked back towards the school and that these boys were not suspects. And we're going to take a look at this map a little bit later, but let's jump back to the night that Judy disappeared. When Judy didn't come home for practice that night, her mom started to understandably panic. To calm herself down, she, I guess, just kept reassuring herself that Judy was going to walk through the door at any minute. When she couldn't wait any longer, she grabbed Judy's cell phone, just in case, Judy called her, and headed out to look for her. I guess she went to a bunch of different friends' houses and asked if they had seen Judy or knew where she was. However, nobody had seen her since practice. After waiting up all night, her mom, Magali, checked Judy's school one last time, hoping to maybe find her there. However, when she didn't, she headed straight to the police station. So on January 12th, a missing persons alert was issued for 14-year-old Judy Cajuste. Unable to bring herself to believe that something had happened to her daughter, I guess Judy's mom sat and waited, looking out her window for Judy to return. For 10 agonizing days, she had no idea what happened. She said, "I looked out my window crying every day. 24 hours I didn't eat." Rumors began to spread around school that Judy had met an older man on Myspace, and they had actually met up that night. And people began to think that Judy had just ran away to be with her new boyfriend. One article that I read said that Judy had ran away previously. However, another article quoted friends as saying that it wasn't like her to run away. On Monday, January 23rd, sadly, Judy's mom learned that the body of her 14-year-old daughter had been found. She learned that Judy had actually been found on January 13th, a week prior. However, it had taken a week to actually identify her. Her body was found in Wequahic Park, and I hope I pronounced that right, but her body was found by park employees, and it's a pretty large park. However, an article that I read said that Judy's body was found in a trash can right outside the maintenance garage off of Elizabeth and Grumman Avenues. And I guess if we look at the map, this looks like to be where her body would have been found, or at least approximately. And it just makes me so sad. Like I said earlier, Judy wasn't trash. The only trash in this story is the killer. At first, when the authorities examined Judy's body, they were under the impression that she was much older. When she was first identified, they said that she was an African-American female in her mid-20s. And since Judy was so young, being only 14 years old, she had never had to deal with the police before, so her fingerprints were never taken. So, going under this assumption that she was in her 20s, when they put her information into the database, Judy's missing persons information didn't, register with it because, they were different ages. And this is why the investigators say it took so long to identify her. Finally, they were able to identify her using the matching rings that her mom had bought them. And that's absolutely heartbreaking to me. In the weeks following Judy's murder, investigators said they were going to look into this theory that Judy had met somebody online, an older guy, and ran away with them. Judy's mom, however, said that she had never heard of there being a boy in Judy's life, and that they had an agreement between the two of them. If there ever was a guy, that Judy would tell her. Judy's friends were also quoted in articles as saying they had never heard of a guy either. The investigators took her laptop and said that they checked her MySpace history. They said that on her page, she talked to friends about meeting a man in his 20s who lived either in Newark or Paterson, New Jersey. According to the police, Judy's MySpace history showed that she had actually last logged in at 6:43 p.m. on January 10th, which was the day before she disappeared. And that means that she hadn't been talking to anyone on her Myspace page on January 11th, the day that she actually disappeared. So if she had been talking to someone that afternoon on her walk home, planning to meet up, it would have had to have been on her cell phone. All of the articles that I read, I didn't come across any information on if a cell phone was ever found, with her body. So I'm assuming it wasn't discovered. And while I was researching, take a look at what I found. According to this post from 2010, this person found that Judy had been talking to a 22-year-old man named Charles Mitchell who lived in Roselle, New Jersey. Same place that Judy lived. Did the police ever look into this lead? And that's an answer I wasn't able to find. But as the public, we don't know everything that's going on in the investigation. However, it's been 18 years since Judy was murdered. You think if the cops knew something, somebody would be in jail right now, but they're not. A memorial was set up in the hallway of Judy's school where a guidance counselor put her middle school photo and, surrounded it by flowers. The vice principal was actually quoted as saying that, she was a really sweet girl and everybody here at the school is taking it really hard. Judy's funeral was held at the First Baptist Methodist Church on January 28th, 2006, and over 700 people attended. Judy's mom is quoted as saying, "I prayed to God that if she is still not alive, I just want to see her body. So say thank you, God, for giving us the body." She went on to say that she was my princess. I couldn't let my princess go to the garbage. And as a mother of a teenager, this literally broke my heart. I mean, it just took the breath out of me. A $5,000 reward was offered for any information that would lead to Judy's killer. But like I said, it's been 18 years, and as we sit here and talk, it remains unsolved. And there's been absolutely no justice. In 2009, New Jersey introduced a new bill named in honor of Judy and another girl whose name was Nicole Giovanni, and she was actually murdered by her mom. This new law would require that a person convicted of a murder of a child 16 years of age or less would be sentenced to a minimum of life imprisonment without the eligibility of parole. Looking into this law, it actually doesn't look like it went into effect in 2009. It's still on the ballot, I guess. So keep your eyes out for that. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section below, but there just wasn't much information out about it. If you have any information about this case, please contact the Essex County Police Department. I'm a pretty firm believer that if history repeats itself, knowledge is key in preventing these tragedies from happening again. So some key takeaways. Judy was young and impressionable, and she didn't know what was going on. Technology like this was new. So this isn't any type of blame game. However, I do want to look at these cases and try to figure out what we can learn from them today to hopefully help prevent them from happening in the future. So parents, please be cautious when you're allowing your kids to go online. And there's tons of things out there, about dating websites and meeting people online. And I think it's fine to meet people online. However, just take extra precaution when doing so. These people that you meet, they don't need to know your address or your phone number even. Definitely not your kids' names. They don't really need to know anything personal until you really know them, right? Also, if you're talking to someone, try to keep your first meeting to a place that's public. If they have an issue with that, then they probably don't need to go on a date with you. Also, if you plan on meeting up, you can use things like Life360. Share your location on Facebook. Share it with somebody that you care about. Like if I ever go on a date, in the past, my bestie definitely knew where I was going, or my daughter knew. Somebody knew. So if something happened to me, they knew when to call for help. So another reason for this video, of course, is to get Judy's story out there. If you do a quick search on YouTube and look for her name, nothing pops up. There's not very many articles on Google either. But one easy way that you can help Judy's story get out to more people is to share this video, hit the like button or comment. That will boost it somehow into YouTube's algorithm, and hopefully more people will hear about it. You can also reach out to your favorite content creators and ask that they cover this story as well. I really pray that this person is brought to justice and has to face, consequences for what a horrible thing that they did. I pray that Judy's family gets justice. But yeah, with that, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It's a free way to help your girl out. And until next time, guys, stay safe and stay focused. Bye.